2019 is here, and that means it's time to take the past year's worth of music and file it into its proper place, which is much easier said than done. It's time for the annual CD Shuffle, coming up next on Track by Track. Hey everybody, my name is Kyle, and this is Track by Track, music reviews, news, and commentary. Thanks for tuning in today, and if this is your first time here, please take a second to click subscribe so that you won't miss future reviews and more. As is probably obvious from the massive wall of CDs behind me, I buy a lot of music over the course of the year. And because sorting all of my new music into these shelves is such a big undertaking, I only do it once a year. Usually that involves a lot of shifting things down from one shelf to the next. But as you can see, I don't really have any more room to shift down. I've certainly bought more music in 2018 than I can fit in the foot or so of shelf space that I still have available to shift down into. As a result, it's time to move up. For the past few years, I've used my top shelves to display most of my music cassettes. I never actually listened to those, and they're basically just taking up space wherever I put them. But now it looks like I'll need them to surrender that space to my CD collection. The good news is, since I'll be expanding up instead of down, my annual CD shuffle should be a whole lot easier this time. The bad news is, I don't know what I'm going to do 1 year from now when I may truly run out of space. Anyway, when it comes to the actual number of discs I added to my collection over the past year, the volume went down quite a bit. In 2018, I added just 124 titles to my collection. Looking at the chart here, you can see how that was spread out over the year. Now, for most people, 124 discs may sound like a lot, but let's compare that to the volume of music I added to my collection the year before. In 2017, the total number was 233 titles, about 47% more than 2018. So here you see how the 2 years compare with each other, with 2018 in red and 2017 in blue. Now, it's important to note that a high percentage of the music I add to my collection each year is actually used CDs, which of course I'm able to buy at a much lower price. Last year, I bought 37 used discs, which on average cost me about $2 a piece. And right here, you can see what the whole year looks like. This pile of music is what I have to somehow fit into my CD wall. I know, that's first world problems, right? At any rate, one thing that I do enjoy about my annual CD shuffle is getting a chance to revisit all of the cool stuff that I've added to my collection during the past 12 months. So for the next few minutes, let me share with you some of my favorites from 2018. All right, to start off, let's look at the bargains. These are the used CDs that in a lot of cases were filling in gaps in my collection, or maybe were just odd items that I couldn't pass up for just $1 or $2. Starting off with a classic here, this is Boston's self-titled album. Managed to get a couple of Elbows CDs that I didn't already have. Here's the Red Hot Chili Peppers' greatest hits. Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On. Robert Plant, greatest hits from Loverboy, a greatest hits from the English Beat. Franz Ferdinand is here. Ani DeFranco, greatest hits from Sarah Evans, as well as Billy Idol. You couldn't get too much different than those two. Here's an early Tegan and Sarah album. Another greatest hits one, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, OMD. Great new wave stuff from the 80s there. Notorious Cherry Blossoms. Here's a greatest hits collection from Carly Simon. Michael Jackson Immortal. This was a remix disc, a 2 CD deluxe edition for his, I think it's the Las Vegas show that they put together after his death. So some really interesting remixes on that. Greatest hits of Herman's Hermits. Believe it or not, I don't have much Metallica in my collection, so here's the live album and the black album that I added this year. Like I said, I'm filling in some gaps. Chris Stapleton's Traveler, what a great country album that one is. If you haven't heard that, check it out. Here's some indie music, an early Soccer Mommy CD, as well as Jay Som, great stuff there. American Football, the deluxe edition of their debut album. Here's Poisoned by Poison. This is a covers album that Poison put together that's a lot of fun. And Van Halen 3 also. Not everything that I get is rock and roll, of course, and so these next few things, there's things that kind of fall into more of a jazz category, starting out with Norah Jones, more Norah Jones. In fact, I bought this one somehow twice in the past year. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep track of the things that I own or don't own. Josh Groban, I got a couple of those that I added to my collection this year. Here's the soundtrack to Vicky Cristina Barcelona that's got some really cool music on it. Here's some Ultra Lounge. I love the whole Ultra Lounge series. This is one of the Ultra Lounge Christmas discs with a lot of fun lounge acts doing Christmas songs there. Frank Sinatra kind of falls into that theme. Here was a Tony Bennett, Bill Evans album that I got at our Goodwill charity store, and it's still sealed, so got that for like $1. Mad About Cartoons. This is all the classical music that you hear in cartoons, so that's a lot of fun. Harry Connick Jr., I've got a lot of his stuff and still filling in some gaps. And Grover Washington Jr., another great jazz artist that I'm picking up filling in some gaps in my collection. And finally, in my used finds for the year, this is a really cool one, the CMJ 500 box set. I paid $5 for this thing, and it's a 6-disc set of some great music. I mean, just skimming through the artists here, you've got Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, REM, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, Beck, Elastica, just tons and tons of great alternative music on this thing from, man, what is this, the late 90s probably, but still $5 for 6 CDs, and there's probably over 100 songs collected on here. So really great find, one of my favorite finds of the past year. Okay, let's move on to new CDs, and when I say new, I don't necessarily mean new releases. This is music that I added to my collection that were new purchases at the store or on Amazon and things like that. And again, some of them are filling in gaps in my collection, and others were just new releases or reissues that came out during the past year. Here is Greta Van Fleet's first EP, I guess they call it, from about a year ago that I purchased earlier this year. Here's the Twin Fantasy Car Seat Headrest, which is a great indie rock act. Snail Mail Lush, this ended up in my top 10 for the year. John Coltrane, both sides, both directions at once, the Lost album, great jazz record there. Tom Waits' Real Gone, the reissue of that, completely remastered and definitely worth upgrading if you have the original version of that. Here's Madeline Peru's Anthem, Penguin Cafe Orchestra, Lenny Kravitz's new album, KT Tunstall, one of my favorite female rockers, Michael Bublé's most recent album. Here's a couple of fun retro ones that kind of take me back to my youth a little bit, holiday related. This is Vince Guaraldi's It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, all the great jazz music from that classic holiday special, as well as the music from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, one of my holiday favorites. So if you're a big fan of Emmett Otter, you should check this out. Let me know in the comments section below. Here is the new reissue of Janis Joplin, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Sex, Dope, and Cheap Thrills. That's a 2-CD set. St. Vincent's Mass Education. Bob Dylan's More Blood, More Tracks, the single disc edition of his most recent bootleg series, the Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack, some great Queen stuff there. Indigo Girls, One Lost Day, and here's Van Morrison and Joey DeFrancesco, You're Driving Me Crazy, kind of a jazzy album for Van Morrison. That was a lot of fun. And here's a stack of music where, again, I'm filling in gaps in my collection. Some of these things you may be surprised to know that I don't have, hadn't had all of them yet. And this is David Bowie. So here's a whole bunch of David Bowie music that I added to my collection this year. Tin Machine, Pinups, Black Tie, White Noise, and here's Lodger, a very classic album from his Berlin trilogy, as well as Tonight. Some of these I haven't even had a chance to listen to yet, and they're still sealed. But again, I'm still trying to fill in all the gaps in my David Bowie collection. I'm getting real close now. All right, here's some more new music that I added to my collection this year. These are 3 XTC surround sound editions, CD plus surround sound Blu-ray disc that I added to my collection this year. The anniversary edition of Garbage 2.0, great classic album there. Somehow I managed to get 2 copies of the new Cure Mixed Up Deluxe Edition that came out this year, the 3 CD release that came out for Record Store there. I ended up double ordering that one. Here's a Miles Davis that I picked up this year. Matthew Sweet and Susanna Hoffs, Completely Under the Covers. This is a 4-disc set that collects all 3 volumes of their Under the Covers series, which is a great series of covers that I strongly recommend you check out. I already had all of them individually, but this set adds a 4th bonus disc of material that I didn't have before, so I'm really happy to add that to my collection. Liz Phair, Girly Sounding Guyville. I reviewed this one in 2018 as well. Definitely a must-have for any Liz Phair fans. Phil Collins, Plays Well with Others. This is a terrific 4-disc set of Phil Collins playing with other musicians. It's not a greatest hits collection for Phil Collins. It's all the stuff that he's done with so many other artists. It's pretty amazing. The Pixies, Come On Now Pilgrim and Surfer Rosa Deluxe Edition. This was really a really nice set as well. And of course, every year, Paul McCartney continues his Archive Edition series. And so 2018 brought us these two. We've got Paul McCartney and Wings with Wildlife, and also Red Rose Speedway. Live music. Every year I add a lot of live music to my collection. Some of these are going to be new releases, some of these are filling the gaps, like the remastered edition of Led Zeppelin, The Song Remains the Same. Here is Ben Folds 5, the complete sessions at West 54th Street. I actually have the DVD video of this, and then in 2018 they released the CD version of it as well. Springsteen on Broadway. If you haven't checked this out on Netflix yet, I highly, highly recommend it. This is really terrific. This is the Coldplay 4-disc live in Buenos Aires and also in Sao Paulo. This has got 2 CDs and 2 DVDs of live material on it. Diana Krall, live in Paris. Some great jazz there. More David Bowie. Here we have from Record Store Day, this is David Bowie, Welcome to the Blackout, and then the David Bowie Glastonbury 2000, which comes with the live music on CD as well as on DVD. So this is really excellent. And then the Miles Davis bootleg series continued in 2018, and here is the Miles Davis with John Coltrane, the bootleg series Volume 6, the final tour. This is really terrific stuff right here. And of course, another series that continued in 2018 was the Rolling Stones from the Vault. Here we have the No Security San Jose 1999 concert, as well as Voodoo Lounge Uncut, and this came out just at the end of 2018. Let's talk about retail exclusives here. These are CDs that had special editions that were only available in retail stores. And this year, all of the ones that I'm going to be showing you were from Target stores. They had bonus tracks that were only available if you purchased these at Target stores. Starting out with Sting and Shaggy. This is an album that was much better than it had any right to be. If you don't believe me, check it out. It's Sting doing reggae music is actually a pretty natural fit. Paul McCartney's Egypt Station. I reviewed both of these, in fact, here on the channel. This one had extra tracks on it if you bought it at Target. Tony Bennett and Diana Krall, Josh Groban, and Andrea Bocelli, opera singer. All of those discs have extra songs on them if you bought them at Target stores. If you're a fan of any of those artists, be sure to check them out there. And finally, let's look at a few autographed discs that I added to my collection. Some of these came from, say, the Pledge Music website. Others came from the artists themselves website, where if you purchased it from them directly, you get the autographed copies. So here we have the Indigo Girls, a live album that they put out last year, autographed. Sam Phillips, World on Sticks, her most recent album, autographed. Stephen Page, his most recent record. Stephen Page, if you're not familiar with him, formerly of Bare Naked Ladies. He was one of the co-lead singers, I guess, of Bare Naked Ladies. This is a terrific pop album. And finally, Echo and the Bunnymen, an autographed copy of their most recent album that they put out in 2018. All right, over the course of 2018, I also reviewed a lot of new music for you here on the channel, and I've got a stack of that for you that I can run through right now, starting with Mitski's Be the Cowboy. This was my #1 album of 2018, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you check this one out. Another one in my top 10, Elvis Costello, Look Now. This is Paul Simon in the Blue Light, Jason Mraz, No, Prince, Piano and a Microphone, Clean by Soccer Mommy, another of the top 10 for 2018. When My Heart Felt Volcanic by the Aces, terrific debut pop album from an all-girl group there. Roger Waters of Pink Floyd, this is The Soldier's Tale. Greta Van Fleet, one of the most controversial rock bands of the last year. A lot of people had a lot of interesting things to say about this one, so if you haven't seen my review of Greta Van Fleet's album, go back and check that one out and chime in with your thoughts in the comments section. Churches, Love is Dead, let me down a little bit. I was hoping for better on this one. Be More Kind by Frank Turner is a terrific rock album. Juliana Hatfield sings the songs of Olivia Newton-John, and that's a covers album there, of course. Call the Comet by Johnny Marr, another top 10 for the year. Pete Yorn and Scarlett Johansson, Apart. This was an EP release for those two. Matthew Sweet, Tomorrow's Daughter. That's the companion to Tomorrow Forever that he put out in 2017. Florence and the Machine, another one of my favorites for 2018. One of the best albums of the year. Dawes, Passwords. This was a decent album, but a little bit of a downer when you listen to it. I was hoping for something a little bit more upbeat from these guys, but it was cool that the local record stores also had a sampler disc that they were passing out if you purchased that album, so that was pretty cool. Courtney Barnett. Again, another one of my top 10 albums for the year, and I just absolutely love Courtney Barnett, and I'm looking forward to more and more music from her in the future. Part of the Light by Ray LaMontagne, that's another good one. Typhoon, Offerings. This was one of my honorable mentions for 2018. Not quite top 10, but very good. It was actually the very first album that I reviewed in the year 2018. And finally, Boarding House Reach by Jack White, probably another one of my most controversial reviews. I did not care for this album at all. Gave it a pretty negative review, and a lot of people didn't agree with me. Some people did. You can go back and watch that review and let me know what you think in the comments section. All right, finally, we're down to the big stuff. These are the box sets, the super deluxe editions that came out in 2018 that I added to my collection. Here we have REM at the BBC. That was a terrific 8-disc set of live material recorded on BBC, TV, and radio. The Cranberries Super Deluxe edition of Everybody Else Is Doing It, So Why Can't We? Sting and Shaggy had a Super Deluxe edition of their album together. Earlier you saw the Target exclusive version of that. This is the deluxe edition that came with an additional disc of live material that was actually well worth seeking out if you're a big Sting fan. And here we have John Lennon Imagine. This is the super deluxe edition of Imagine. You've got 4 CDs and 2 Blu-ray discs here. Lots of terrific material, as well as a hardcover book in there. For any Beatles or John Lennon fan, this was an absolute must-have and well worth the price. Electric Ladyland by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. A 4-disc set re-release for that with lots of cool extra material, as well as this beautiful hardcover book. You can see the unboxing for this one, of course, and see what you're getting inside. And finally, of course, my favorite deluxe edition of the year, Super Deluxe Edition. This is the Beatles' White Album. This is just absolutely as tremendous as you could have hoped that it would be, to have the entire album completely remastered, as well as 3 discs of demo material, and there's also surround sound mix included here of the album, and a beautiful, beautiful hardcover book. Not cheap, but absolutely worth every penny. So there you go. There's a quick overview of most of what I added to my music collection in 2018. And at this point, I guess there's no more delaying it. It's time to start the shuffle. The cassettes are coming down, the CDs are going up, and the new arrivals bins are getting emptied out and ready for whatever comes next in 2019. Once again, my name is Kyle, and this has been Track by Track. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Plus, check out some of these other videos that I think you might also enjoy. And of course, be sure to subscribe, because true music fans always want new releases the day they come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.